Smiling, smiling,
This too, so I don't look like I'm... Okay, is that everything?
I don't think so.
Something
Works
like
like
that.
Sure.
Whatever. Something close to everything.
Cheers to this.
Okay. Let's see what we look like. Oh,
See?
hey,
How did that?
let's see here.
Yeah, I have no eyes today. Good morning or good afternoon. Depends on where you
It
are.
depends who, yeah.
This is Lee and Paul from coupledom.com.
Hello.
Doing relationship rehab here on Mingle Media.
Yes. Yeah. We're really deciding that, having relationships with people is too much.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe it's
We're
too much
quitting.
work. Let's stop that.
We're quitting. Plus, my hair is huge today.
It still looks good.
I got big hair
You
today.
got big hair.
I got big hair
Get
today.
your rocker hair.
Yeah, it's been a tough week. And I'm not saying it's tough, okay? It's been a week.
Yeah.
It's when a lot of things happen at once. We've learned to say things like, that's just life. And I like to tell people it's like life is lifing at you. It's like this is what life does.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just have normal, and all of a sudden it gets very complicated. And right now, yesterday was very complicated because we were at the hospital with our friend.
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter, who she adopted from China in November, had surgery, and
She
very
had
a cleft palate and cleft lip, and she adopted her like that, and obviously, and we knew it was coming, but it ended up being like kind of like a rush job because the little one actually learned how to pop out her little appliance, so they had to hurry up and close her up, and so it's kind of scary when you have a child go into surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, she's almost 2 years old, and she only weighs 17 pounds.
Yeah.
And we call her the paper baby.
Yeah.
Because really it feels like holding paper when you carry her.
Realize our boys at, let's say, about maybe a month, were already that weight.
Yeah.
So for her to be, at 2, our boys were,
Oh, smash.
Yes.
Breaking things,
Yeah.
and
I mean, they doubled
Jeannie
her
not
weight
as much,
easily.
but even Jeannie, who was malnourished and all that stuff, she weighed 16 pounds at 6 months.
Yeah,
so
she packed on the weight like
pretty
all
quickly in 1 month.
In one month.
And this one hasn't done that, so. But she looks beautiful.
She's so teeny.
Yeah, she's teeny, but she looks beautiful. I mean, even with her cleft lip, she was a beautiful girl, and now that it's all closed up, she looks like a different little girl.
Yeah.
But at the same time, during all this stuff, shit, I'm not good today. I'm like right there all the time right now. My uncle had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago, and they're going to be taking him off the machines today in California. So, got that going on. And in the middle of all this, we have, our life. And our life, that's like everything outside of us. And then in our home, we have, 5 individuals getting ready to move.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be talking more about that next week.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be launching another show on Mingle Media, really just concentrated on the move and on the process of it. And I think that today I'm probably going to have to record the first confessional because I'm so ready for it.
It's already, yeah.
But it's,
Yeah, but we promise laughter and tears and maybe some yelling. Maybe.
But yeah, we have a lot of stuff to cover in that, and that show's gonna run for about 6 months while we do all the move. I mean, because it's not just this static little, oh look, we're moving. It's we're moving 3,000 miles, and our daughter's going to college, and
yes, basically we are changing almost everything about our life.
Yeah.
The people we hang around with, because we're moving from family and friends. what we consider our immediate family dynamic, because our daughter will be
Gone.
yeah, at college. I still won't say gone per se. She won't be in the house.
This is why I cry, and he hasn't been. He doesn't get there yet
Yeah.
because he hasn't accepted.
Yes. So yeah, a great amount of change and
Change.
such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Love you too. So anyway, been a lot.
Yeah.
Been a lot going on. Yesterday we were driving to the hospital to go see Mia and Sarah, and everywhere we passed, I was just like bathed in reminiscence,
Right.
and I don't want this to sound bad, but I'm really not a fan of Miami. So, but I love my experience here.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? So, I mean, how couldn't I? It's like my daughter's grown up here. We had our boys here, and we've made great friends here. So, there's been a lot of reminiscing. And then in the middle of all this stuff and all these tears, King Sarah McLachlan's song, "I Will Remember You" comes on the radio. Swear to God, I almost tore the radio out of the car. I'm like, what the hell, you evil
Except
woman?
that you were too busy.
I was too busy
weeping.
weeping. Luckily, I haven't driven in a week, so that helps. I've also been sick. That probably is adding to all this.
Right. And she's had vertigo for
A week.
Well,
A week.
no, you've had it for
Since-
2 weeks.
no.
You've been on medication
No.
for a week.
I've only had it for 1 week. I started last Saturday.
With vertigo?
Yeah, I woke up with vertigo on last Saturday.
I thought it was
No, it was.
Oh, okay. I guess so. So 1 week.
I love it. Yeah, 1 week.
I
had. Yeah, it's 1 week.
Okay.
That's it.
So she's been on dizzy for a week now.
I mean, like really dizzy. I'm better. I'm much better, but it's been really weird. I mean, even last night, leaning over to give him a kiss, I felt like I was falling off a cliff. I was like, oh, kiss. Okay, we're good. But I'm better right now. I'm better at this time. Later on in the day, I get weird again. I get all, I don't know what that is.
So that's where we're at right now.
That's where we're at. There's a lot of stuff.
Coming into this year's show, this is where we're at. So if we just, either start crying or fall asleep or something like that,
It'll happen.
You'll know.
It'll happen. Plus, the fact that I already look like I'm crying because my eyes are so damn puffy. I mean, I cried a lot yesterday. A lot.
And kind of consistently,
Yeah,
rain,
yeah. It was,
That
it
constant
was a
drizzle.
low level. It was a drizzle most of the day, and yeah, it was tough. I don't see today's weather getting any better.
Yeah, no, going for the drizzle. all
We're gonna
day.
probably be drizzling all day today.
Yes.
Or as we've taken to calling it, yawning.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking to somebody on the phone and you start crying, it's like, sorry, I was yawning.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Yeah.
I coined that because I'm a man.
Yeah, because he doesn't cry.
That's
He just
right.
yawns.
Yeah, yawn. Sometimes I yawn uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Get into a fetal position and
Yeah.
yawn for an
and
hour.
yawn, yeah.
So yeah. So what are we talking about today?
What about relationships? Isn't that funny? Relationship rehab. We're
Yeah.
actually going to talk about relationships.
Oh, that's weird.
We get a lot. Okay, this is the thing.
Don't have them. It's easier.
No.
The end. Goodbye. No?
No. This is the thing that kind of irks us. It seems like any schmo can, at this time in our history, can put up a website and say that they're relationship experts.
Yeah.
And any schmo can start writing about relationships and whatever, and any schmo can write a book about, relationships and whatever. So, and call themselves relationship experts, I mean, it's so insulting it's kind of like saying, I read a book once about doctors. I think I could perform an appendectomy. Actually, that's funny. It's a funny story. I'm sitting there with my friend Sarah yesterday, and she's only been a mom for, you know, less than a year physically where she's had her. But I mean, she knew about Mia in June, so she's almost been a mom for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
So she's sitting there and she's so nervous and she's freaking out, and a doctor walks in and he starts explaining something to another family, and I'm listening to them, and I'm like, you know, Sarah, and Sarah's a therapist also, and in fact we knew each other from working together like really closely, so we have tag teamed therapy many times. So I'm like, you know, if we reframe this whole doctor thing, they're just glorified mechanics. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's all, you know, pieces, putting them together, nailing them together, gluing them together. If you listen to the stuff that they're saying, that's all they're saying. I mean, it's like, it's a mechanic. It's a carpenter. It's, you know, I'm not getting this like, ooh, I have this magic because I'm a doctor. She turns to me, she goes, this is not the right thing to be saying to me today. She goes, I want to know he's a magician. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's probably
That's
true.
not really,
Yeah.
But the point being, you know, you have a skill set when you learn therapy, and you have a skill set when you have an experience of certain things. So the majority of these people that are writing these books and whatever that you're reading out there, and for some reason, don't really have that kind of experience, you know. And it's like, and if we look at, I mean, like, I'll give a good example, like Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, I can't really knock too much because the guy does have education, and he does, you know, have some experience. He used to actually be a trainer, you know that? Like for, like an SD kind of,
Really?
yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
And, so he does have, you know, some chops for that. The problem is that he's very disconnected from what he does. And it isn't, you know, it's kind of like he's not connecting with the people that he's talking to. So to talk about relationship in a disconnected way is wrong. So
just so that you know what you're talking about, in marketing, they're called trust marks. And they're the certification that somebody would have that make you want to trust them to listen to them. So the fact that he has doctor in front of his name,
right, then you
is
listen
a trust
to
mark.
him.
You automatically, Dr. Laura is another one. She has doctor, even though her doctorate
is in kinesiology.
Yes, it has nothing
to
do with that.
There's somebody I would actually have issue with, because you see, Dr. Laura doesn't have anything to hang a hat on. She doesn't have anything to say, hey, you should listen to my relationship advice because I'm so good at this. No, she is just an opinionated old woman. At the end of the day, that's all she is. You know, and not only that, her opinions suck. You know, her opinions are based on this old-timey, do what I'm telling you but not what I did kind of reality. I mean, she was a mistress. She, you know, I mean, she was an adulteress. She, you know, took nude pictures of herself. And if you listen to her, she is the biggest prude in the world. Now, I can't listen to her for more than 2 minutes because she pisses me off. And I'm so happy that she's lost shows and all that, because she doesn't belong on the air. And now if you tell me, oh, I only read like Dr. Joyce Brothers, great, fantastic, brilliant woman. Dr. Ruth, love her, fantastic. You know, I have Sue Johnson, the sex lady on Oxygen, excellent, excellent sex educator, wonderful lady. Because they have the, what is it, the trust marks? The trust marks to go with it. You could trust what they're saying. Dr. Drew, okay, if I could build a shrine to the man, I would. The guy's brilliant. You know, I mean, watch his new show on the Health Network. The guy is brilliant. Everything that he does, you know, he does it with integrity. And people might think that it's not true, and this all means something. I trust me when that, because at the end of the day, we talk about relationships and we use words like, well, you know, relationships are difficult. Relationships are complicated. Relationships are a mystery. Relationships are magical. And it's like, and if you know, think for 2 seconds. we're being bombarded with all this imagery of what a relationship is, and it makes it seem like you need to go on a quest with a sword and a torch to figure out what this relationship thing is. And you're lucky if you get one, because
they're rare and hard to come by.
yeah,
and
it's like a jewel. It's like a Hope Diamond or some
Right.
shit like that. It's not. It's really not that complicated. It's not complicated at all. It's like right now, whether you like it or not, we are in a relationship. You are watching us. We are kind of seeing that you have a your little number comes up, or unless you're
Your name
on the
and-
chat.
Right.
We are in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And because a relationship is simply a connection. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it. And it is our choice whether or not to make it deeper or to keep it like this, nice and anonymous.
But we
it's-
actually are asking. I mean, following this example, we're actually asking you to make it deeper.
Right.
Because I routinely say, hop onto to the chat, get an account so that you can write something to us. Because what that does is that actually creates.
Because he's needy.
I'm
And he,
needy.
he wants a relationship.
Yeah, I do.
Paul needs friends.
Yes.
Paul needs friends.
Yeah.
Boyfriends. Not boyfriends.
Yeah.
Like guys that are.
Yes. I have very few male friends.
Yes. And probably because they piss him off.
Yeah. This is true. But anyhow, that's probably a different topic.
Yeah, it is.
Different, yes. Anyhow, I'm requesting the relationship. I want it to get deeper by having the conversation go both directions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. Just
Isn't
came
that
in.
beautiful? Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Perfect.
Apparently, you're not requesting that.
Sure, why not? That's the thing. It's like years ago we were in a training. We were in a LifeSpring training. LifeSpring was one of those kind of self-effectiveness trainings, and it had you get in touch with certain things. And now, in some parts of it were fantastic. Some parts were really dysfunctional and bad and horrible. But we learned a lot about ourselves. And I put out those caveats in case anybody's watching this. Whoever did those were like, oh my God, they ruined my life. During one of the trainings, the advanced course, they asked us, are you in a relationship with anybody in the room? And I was there with Paul, and I knew a few other people in the room, and so did he. And I stood up, and he stood up,
right.
and a few other people stood up. And then there's one girl who didn't stand up. Now, this girl was interesting because she's the daughter of my brother's godparents. We basically grew up together. We basically would go on vacations together every year. I'd hang out at her house pretty much every weekend because our parents were best friends.
Yeah, this is one of those, there's pictures of you in a crib with her, or one of those.
No,
that's not her?
No, that's
Okay.
not her.
Sorry.
But pictures of like her sister holding my brother when he was a baby.
Oh, okay, yes.
Things like that. But yeah, there's like a ton of pictures of us together growing up, going to Mexico together and doing things like that. Anyway, she doesn't stand up. So the trainer's like, well, who do you know in this room? Who are you in relationship with in this room? And, I point out Paul, obviously, as my husband, and then a few other people that I knew, one from work, one from a job that I had at one point, and, people that I knew. And then I go, and there's one more, and she's like, what? Who? And I go, well, her. And I point to her because I didn't want to call her out, but if they're asking me a direct question, then I'm going to answer it. And then she's like, well, how do you know her? And I go, we grew up together. And, so the trainer has her stand up, and the trainer, fantastic lady. She was a marriage and family therapist in California. I don't know where she is now. I would love to find her. Her name was Lou Dozier. Great lady. Says to her, so, you don't think you're in a relationship with anybody here? And she goes, well, you said, are we in a relationship with anybody? She goes, well, I'm not in a relationship with anybody here. So she's like, so you don't think that you have a relationship with Lee? And she's like, well, no, I know her. You know, we're kind of like family. And she goes, and you don't think that's a relationship? And then she's like, well, no. And she's, you know, so, and if you take that example, because that's a really good example of how people feel in the world, that a relationship is only something that is potentially sexual, potentially, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, lover, husband, wife kind of thing. It's not friendship, it's not family, it's not acquaintances, you know. That's a really solitary way of thinking. That's a, you know, we suffer from this deep loneliness in this world. And it's because people don't get that we are connected. People aren't getting
that they're already in relationship.
They're already in relationship. The fact that I live in a neighborhood, I'm in relationship with everybody. He lives in the same neighborhood. He's got a relationship with everybody. And I say it separately because it's my relationship with them. It's his relationship with them. It's our relationship with them. There's I'm in two kinds of relationship with the world. I'm in a relationship as me as an individual, and me as a wife, as a team member. Actually, three, because I'm part of a family.
Right.
So it's all these layers of connections and connections. You know, it's like we have a neighbor across the street we call the asshole. I'm in a relationship with the asshole, whether I like it or not.
Right.
You know,
not necessarily a good relationship.
No, I'm not.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
But it is a relationship.
But it is a relationship. You know, we have mutual animosity. You know.
Why do you call him an asshole?
Why do you call him an asshole? Because he is. I mean, there's really no other way. Because one, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
And that
we've lived 16 years here. I don't know. He's actually lived here less time than us, but still years and years at this point. And he's never smiled at us. He basically just kind of grunted and like
he left a note
away
on our door once a few years ago, right after Christmas. Okay, now we have Christmas here at our home. Well, we used to anyway. The whole family comes over. We open presents. It is tons and tons of presents. So this is the day after Christmas, when we have all of our trash outside, waiting for the trash guy to pick up reams and reams of wrapping paper and boxes and opened up toy boxes and crap like that.
In bags.
In bags. It's not like they're just scattered about our lawn.
They make a pile.
You know, we have the trash cans. We have this is before we had our like municipal trash cans. Right. And we have all the bags around it. It's a lot of trash. Well, yeah, it's right after Christmas. Guy leaves a note on our door calling us a bunch of fucking pigs because of all of our trash. And we knew it was him, you know, and then it's like...
Okay, we knew it was him because we actually have relationships with the other neighbors. So, like, our neighbor to, my right would have said something. Yeah. They wouldn't have left a note. They would have just come by, or they would have actually picked up a bag of trash and threw it into their trash can.
Yeah.
Because we have that kind of relationship.
The other neighbors don't speak English, and neither do any of the other ones around.
Right.
He's the only one.
He actually wrote fucking pigs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He did. He did. And that was like... And I'm standing there reading it, and he's standing in front of... Okay, the guy sells hot dogs down the street. Now, I don't know how it is back in other places now, but this is what the guy does. He basically parks his car a good about mile down the road, and we live in a very rural area. So, like right next to the field. So he parks near the fields, and he just sits there all day, and he sells hot dogs. Mm-hmm. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Hey, that's an honorable life.
Right.
But all he does is sit on a bucket and sell hot dogs. He doesn't read or anything like that. He doesn't... I don't know how he could do it, personally. But I'm not going to judge. Ain't my job.
I got all kinds of judgments, but that's just me.
So, I'm standing, and he spends all his time outside with his car and playing Latin music really loud. I mean, like when I say really loud, like really loud. Like if I open my front door, it would like blast into the house. So I'm reading this, I look up and he's standing there like looking at me. So obviously, who did it, So yeah, I'm in a relationship with him. And then the funny thing is, like, about 6 months ago, he started knocking on our door, handing us avocados.
Mm-hmm.
No words, just avocados.
Yeah.
So it's like, knock, knock, knock. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, you're welcome. Hey, do you like avocados? There's no conversation, just asshole avocados, as we've termed them. We don't eat them personally because we watched, like Water for Chocolate, and we know what kind of, feelings are imbued in those fruits. So we actually just give them to my parents. But like I'm saying, it's connection. If you ever read anything, I mean, like I love Dr. Wayne Dyer, and his stuff is really just about the connection. He talks about how every growth spurt we have emotionally in our lives is caused by a relationship. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, we don't grow in a vacuum. We don't grow, like the moment that a woman has a child, there's a growth spurt. The moment that a man has a child, there's a growth spurt. That relationship is an instant relationship. There is a deep connection the moment that you see them. There are people that you encounter in your life that you connect with. It's like, for example, Hopeful Girl. I've never met you. I'm deeply connected to you. I look forward to seeing you every single week. I don't know who you are. It's like, I knew your husband 1,000,000 years ago, and when I say I knew him, he was in the class above mine, and I knew who he was. But it was not like we were deepest, darkest friends, like he knew my deep secrets, but there's a connection there. There's a deepness there that we didn't acknowledge back then. Like your husband and us had a shared experience that makes us deeply connected. Whether we acknowledged it back then or not. And now that we're older, we can tap into that and say, yeah, I get it. You and I had a very similar life a long time ago, and we could connect through that. See, things like that. It's weird. It's really, really weird. And I'm talking to my friend yesterday. Now, when I met Sarah, I met her in 1999. And I was a clinical director, and she was a therapist. So, technically, I was her clinical boss. Not technically, I was her clinical boss. So, but I never felt like that. I was always a very team person when I worked.
And she wasn't the person that you needed to boss.
I didn't have to boss her around because, she had it all over the place. So, one of the first conversations she and I ever had was about how I told her about our daughter because our daughter's adopted. And she told, me that she wanted to adopt a little girl from China. And did you know about the Chinese thing that so many little girls to be adopted, blah, blah, blah. And so we connected there, and when she met our daughter, she was just like, oh my God, and she was in love with Jeannie, and she just adored Jeannie, and she was a great friend back then. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, we were good friends, and then we had a falling out right before our very good friend Susie mm-hmm. died. And then we kind of like lost touch for a little while because of the falling out, and I guess the grief got in the way of like trying to figure things out. And so when she found out about Mia a year ago, she wrote me. And she said, hey, I really want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. So when we talked, she's like, look, I wanted to tell you that they've offered me this kid that's special needs. What should I do? And now this is already 11 years after the fact. Right. Paul and I wrote her recommendation letter in 2003.
Yeah.
2002 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like 9 years ago, and still no baby, because she's a single woman. And she's like, well, can you tell me, how was it for you? And I'm like, well, obviously it was difficult, but
Horrible, wonderful.
horrible, yeah. But it's like, her. You tell me, how was it? And she's like, well, you're the only real example that I have of a special needs adoption. And I'm like, look, if you're committed, then do it. And I go, we will support you 1,000,000%. So we reconnected, and that was in June of last year. And in November, she got Mia, and Mia had a cleft lip and palate.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful little girl. She was, a year and a half. Weighed, was it 10 pounds when she got her? 10 pounds at a year and a half. And so, I'm sitting there with her yesterday in the hospital, and I'm like, that whole idea of connection, and she needed to have us in her life in some way.
Mm-hmm.
If she wouldn't have had us in her life, she may have never said yes to Mia. And even she said it when she was holding Mia after the surgery. She goes, I would have never said yes to this. If somebody would have asked me 5 years ago, will you take a special needs kid? I would have said no. And she goes, I had to get to this point. I had to have people like you guys in my life to be able to say, hey, that might not be so bad, And so all of that, all these little connections created this family that is now Sarah and Mia. And that's a really deep way of looking at life. And most of us never stop to really think about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Never stop to look at the connection you have to certain friends that you probably have closer to you and have elevated to such a degree that they're more than your family. And that's a very important connection to cherish and to acknowledge and say, wow, you're like my sister,
Mm-hmm.
So
this is a relationship.
yeah, exactly. This is a relationship. This is a deep relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, we're married. We're in a relationship. That's just one of the millions of relations that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And if we looked at things like that, boy, the world would be a lot different. A lot different. Anyway.
Just have to wait.
Aw.
Doing a really oh.
I love you too. I love you too. I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's a couple weeks ago we went to a fair, and it was really weird because this woman ran up to us as we got there. And, we're with our kids, and she runs up to us. She's like, "Oh my God, it's you guys. You're coupledom. Oh my God, I love you guys." And we're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And she was just so genuine and just so, "Oh my God, and now can I hug you?" "Yeah, you could hug me." And we're both standing there stunned, but in that moment, in that little connection, I loved her too. There was nothing.
You're famous at school. Yeah, it is.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, it sends us into a shock that it kind of like, huh? I don't know what you're talking about.
Now,
Go talk to me.
On this front, though,
Yeah.
yesterday we were pointing out that we should make a list of things that people should know.
Yeah.
And to me, one of them, or to both of us, one of them is a little bit about statistics. Some math.
Yeah.
I think math is important. The reason I'm bringing it up is because when we talk about this connectedness stuff, there's some heavy duty math behind it, and I've had the opportunity to look at some of it, and it's almost magical. I mean, it's really inspiring. If you look at the network analysis behind Facebook, for example. Now, Facebook has how many users now?
Like 500 million users.
Is it 500? Yeah. Okay, so 500 million users.
Or is he at 1 billion already?
I don't remember, but enough. A lot. You know?
More than 10.
More than
less
10.
than a Google.
Really a lot.
Okay.
Everybody's connected. Everybody is connected in one way or another. And, you know, this is the whole mathematical analysis that gives you the 6 degrees of separation and that kind of stuff.
Which is cool.
That basically says that within 6 phone calls, if you will, or letters or whatever, I could call anybody else on this planet. I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows that person. I don't think I did 6 of them, but you get what the idea.
He doesn't do little math.
Yeah,
he does big math.
It's important. You know, it's an important piece of math, if you will, to really internalize, to realize that all of these relationships, these intimate ones that you have, are influencing other relationships outside of you. They're influencing 6 degrees of separation outside of you all over the world. We are all connected, and you are being influenced by them.
And this is what drives me crazy about all of this. The math is there. The science is there. Everything is there. And yet, we like to pretend, especially in this country, that we're all alone. Ah, crap. All alone in this world.
I just spilled, sorry.
But it doesn't get to you. That we're all alone. That, you know, we don't want anybody near us. And, you know, don't come near me. And we want to be isolationists, and we don't really want to be part of the world. And this idea of a global economy scares me because, you know, the United States is the best and all that. And it just doesn't make sense to live like that because it's not real.
We can't.
It's not true.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. It's like, you know, we want to be isolationists, but at the same time, we know, like, we're the greatest country. Well, if we're the greatest country, then we have a responsibility to the world now, don't we? You know, if you look at it as you know, an example of, or we reframe it as, you know, a family. Well, as the mommy or the daddy of the world, well, shouldn't we be responsible for everybody? Oh, we can't be responsible for everybody. We have to take care of ourselves. Yeah, but we take care of ourselves, but then there is an inherent responsibility, isn't there?
Because there's an,
you know, because then if you don't, yeah, because if you don't think that, then any concept of believing in a God doesn't make sense. Shouldn't he just take care of himself? You know what I mean? So it's like we create these very elaborate, you know, we're all alone kind of thing, and we're the best, but we're all alone. But when I'm connected to some, you know, Inuit, Alaskan dude. I'm connected to a communist in Cuba. I'm connected to, you know, some guy in the Congo. I'm connected to the people who were rioting in Egypt. I'm connected to everybody, you know, and it's all, you know, when someone passes, one way or another, you feel that too. So, I don't know, just acknowledge it, you know, so that's relationship. Now, when we talk about having relationships, there was this book a few years ago, and, you know, I refuse to say the name of the book. I kind of don't even say it like when we write about it this last week, because I don't want them to get any kind of publicity, because quite frankly, they sold way too many books on shit. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, had they written a book about shit, I think it would have been more interesting to me.
Yes. I'm back. I just flung coffee all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, he had a whole cup of coffee on the floor, but now we have a very clean spot.
Yes, right.
In front of us. So, something about Triple X Love. No, they're probably going to get kicked.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so, this book comes up with 30 something, and I noticed I won't even print it out because I won't even waste paper on it. 35 suggestions. I know,
I'm not going to say it.
So 35 rules they came up with, okay? About how to land your man, how to land a relationship. The first one is so insulting. It's be a creature unlike any other. I'm going to go with lemur. But wait, there's already lemurs out there, aren't they? Oh, I don't know.
Dodo bird.
True.
There's
or
no
maybe
more
I
of
could be a
those.
saber-toothed tiger. You know? Doesn't make sense. most of their rules are either don't do this or pretend to be this.
Yeah.
You know, you make it really clear. They make it, don't tell him what to do. Don't see him more than once or twice a week. Don't rush into sex. Wait at least 3 dates. Well, I mean, that one I kind of agree with. Don't open up too fast. Love that. Don't date a married man. I agree with that one. There you go. Don't break the rules. Yeah, break the rules. Do the rules and you'll live happily ever after. My ass. Don't stare at men or talk too much. Okay. I stare at men all the time. I like men. What?
Yes.
I know.
I'm gonna leave that person. Go ahead.
The book is ridiculous because what they're telling you to do is pretend to be somebody else. Okay? And when you pretend to be somebody else, I'm sorry, I'm feeling something on my leg, and it's actually just little things in my pants. When you pretend to be somebody else, this is why when people get married, after a few months, they say things like, well, you aren't the same person I dated. You aren't the same person from before we got married.
No
Why?
shit.
Because they got tired. They got tired of pretending, and now they're going to be real.
Right.
You
They
know?
got the ring already.
Yeah, what the hell? It's like the moment you get the ring, you could be yourself again. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen out there?
Mhm.
No.
Right.
Be yourself from the beginning. It's just ridiculous. And the funny thing is, I don't even think that's funny. I think it was sad. The women who wrote this were just journalists, okay? One of them got divorced, then got remarried, and then talked about how to have a happy marriage. It's like, honey, you don't know.
Yes.
How about you just decide you don't know? Just, you know, actually, this is the even more insulting part to this book. If you go to JWoww, she wrote a book called The Rules of JWoww for dating. Her rules are better.
Yeah.
It's scary. I forgot what they were now, but I read them and I went, you know, now granted, she didn't write it by herself. She had somebody,
Yeah.
you know, she probably didn't write it at all, but she had somebody helping her and whatever. But the rules aren't bad. I mean, they're kind of pap, you know, they're like, you know, stuff that we all know. And
at least hers, if I remember right, have, you know,
be
being yourself, be an
and
empowered person,
yeah, and
that
you
kind
know,
of stuff.
I mean, what these women are telling you to do is really just be like that. Oh, look at me!
Yeah.
I'm just such a mystery. Oh, look at me! I'm an enigma. Come and rescue me, you big handsome man, you. And then when they come and rescue and they give you a ring and you get married, then you like, you know, wake up the first day of marriage and you know, I'm gonna change you now.
See, this again goes back for me to the definition of relationship.
Yeah.
Because this is, you're in a relationship if you're married. So you're in a relationship if you actually walk down the aisle. And that's all you're going for.
Right.
You know? And I think all of us who have walked down the aisle know that there's a whole lot of relationship after that aisle. Whole lot.
Well, no, because everything that we do, everything that is written out there is really just up until that point.
Right.
Because really, once you get the ring, you're done.
You're done.
Right?
You're
You know, you spike the ball, you know, go home, take a hot shower, you know, you're done.
Yeah, it's all easy from there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why this whole divorce thing, don't know what the problem is there.
You know, and I'm sorry, we had seeds for breakfast. You know, the funny thing is that, and I keep saying the funny thing because I find it hilarious, there isn't a divorce problem in this country. There really isn't. You know, if you factor out, and once again, knowing your math, if you factor out, if you do the statistics, if you factor out everybody who got married because they got knocked up, if you factor out everybody who got married because their parents made them get married.
Right. The kids, basically.
Yeah, if you factor out children in general, like, you know, you factor out anybody who got married before the age of 15.
Right, yeah.
And anybody...
18 is statistically all the people who got married in high school.
Before 18?
Yeah, in high
and
school.
about to 25. If you take all those people out of the equation, you'll notice that the statistics are only like about 30%.
Yeah.
Now, 30%, I mean, a 70% success rate is pretty good wherever you know. So marriage in general is not broken.
Right.
What's broken is the way we think about marriage, the way we think about relationship in general. That's what's broken out there. Because of dipwads like these women writing books like that, that sold 2 million copies like in about a couple months. That's what's wrong out there. And that women read those things and think that that's real. You know, stop looking for advice from women who can't get their shit together and look to people who, one, have a relationship, because I wouldn't even trust a therapist without a relationship, and two, you know, somebody with education and someone who understands the statistics and someone who knows how the mind works a little bit. Oh wait, that would be us. Oh, fantastic. Lucky for you, we're here. Yeah. This is what happens when I have a day of crying. I get really all sarcastic and feisty. So anyway, you want to know the rules? They're very simple. Here are the rules.
Okay. Give us rules.
Rules according to coupledom. Because those are the only rules you should be looking at. Seriously. Really. Number one.
Go.
Always be yourself. You know why? Because it's easier.
It's the only you can be.
Yeah, it's so much easier, isn't it? I don't have to pretend to be anybody. You know, it's scary when you start a relationship. When I'm talking about a dating, intimate relationship. It's scary. And I remember, good Lord, I remember the anxiety. Well, okay, here's a good story. When we were first dating, first road trip we went on, the first trip, we'd been seeing each other for like about a month and a half, and we were going to be spending the night together. We were going to be in a hotel together. He booked the hotel, and oh wow, he got a king-size bed, and oh shit. And I was in such a tizzy that I actually had to be on Valium most of the time.
Surprised you even remember the
I know. If not, I would have been, well, no, if I wasn't high on my Valium, I was throwing up because I was so anxious. You know, this was the man I had already fallen in love with. This is the man I knew I wanted to spend my life with. And I was going to spend the weekend with him, possibly having sex.
And I was being suave as hell in my head.
In his head. Yes. Because outwardly, not so much.
Not so much, no.
But, you know, the only thing I could be was me, because that was me. Had I been all, hey, baby, that was just not me. It was not me back then. Now it is, but not back then. So it's, you know, to pretend, I don't know. It kind of, you know, it's so much energy. And I think that that's why people make relationships so complicated, because if you're pretending at all, that complicates things. And, you know, then you have to keep the lies straight and the truth hidden and all this other stuff. And just be yourself.
Another little piece to that, kind of an axiom, if you will, is that people are going to change. Everybody changes.
Oh, yeah.
People evolve. You have to change. If you don't start as yourself, then where are you going to, what's your starting point for changing?
Oh, that's so complicated.
No, it's not.
It's deep. It's deep.
Is it deep?
It's deep.
Oh,
it's too
okay.
deep for me.
Nope.
No, it's true. But I mean, that's the point. It's like, if you're not being genuine, if you're not in integrity with yourself, there is no change.
Right. There's no insight.
Yeah, you have to you become stagnant because you're so busy trying to keep the lie going. Okay, number 2. So always be yourself. Number 2, if it's to be, it's up to me. You want a relationship with somebody? Make it happen.
Right.
Period.
Have relationships.
Have relationships. Every time we sit back on our laurels and think, okay, you know, this is going to come at me. Now, I do believe in the power of intention, and I do believe that the universe wants you to be happy, and I do believe all those wonderful things.
Power of prayer?
Yeah, believe all of that stuff. Yeah. You need to make it happen. Okay? So, if you need to get yourself, if you need to get your head straight, go get your head straight. If you need to clear the decks for a relationship, like, you know, basically wash out all the other crappy relationships you have, go to therapy and clear the decks. If you like a guy or if you like a girl, talk to them.
Like, I am a believer in power of prayer. And sometimes the answer that God gives is, go handle it. I have given you the power. Fix it. Do what you want to do. That's the answer. And a lot of people just don't listen to it.
Mm-mm.
So you want a relationship? Well, the answer is go
Make
have
it
a
happen.
relationship.
Exactly.
You walk up and say,
relate.
relate.
I wouldn't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I wonder if he knows I'm alive. Introduce yourself.
Now he knows you're alive.
Now he knows you're alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I'm 45. I've been married a long time. That sounds like big words from, So what? Do it.
Mm-hmm.
You only have one life to live.
Okay.
Live it.
And unfortunately, there is also a statistical aspect to this one too. The more relationships you have, the more likely it's going to be that you can find the relationship.
And now, whoa, watch what he's saying.
Sex is
connection.
Right.
Connections.
Connections.
We're going back to that connection, that
Mm-hmm.
6 degree stuff. We're not talking about the more fucking you do.
Right.
We're talking about, we're not talking about the quantity of lovers or partners you've
We're
had.
saying that you cannot have a relationship sitting in your house with nobody around you.
And cats.
And cats.
Nobody likes cats.
The more connection.
I'm still reeling from the CSI from last night where they have the cat people. They had the cat people, and I'm like, and we looked at each other, and I go, I don't like cats, and I like cat people even less.
Yeah. People pretending to be cats.
Oh, stupid.
Anyway.
Honesty is the best policy. If you're going to be in integrity and be yourself, then be honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't be in a relationship, if you can't go any deeper, then be honest with it. Don't pretend. Don't create stuff between two people.
Yeah.
Don't lie. It's just so complicated, I think back to, I have one of my cousins, when she had been married only like a few weeks, and I had her and her new husband over, and basically she had never told her husband that her mother was an alcoholic and was kind of mean growing up. She kind of told the stories, but she made the mean one my mom. Why? But it's like,
because he's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
That's right.
The point is, why are you lying to him? Why do you need to lie? And the fact that, 20-something years later, she's never really been honest about that. And she's actually believed her lie, which is even sadder.
Which actually really is that's I think the more significant part about the honesty thing. Being honest with other people is important. Be honest with yourself is even more important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where her batshit craziness came in.
Right.
Because she was incapable, and I think still is, of being honest with herself.
Right.
It was too painful. It was just,
too
I can
scary.
give you all the reasons why.
Too real, too scary. They're the kind of people that, they want to honor their mother's memory. And, their mother's memory is really filled with a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't move past that. And it's very sad because their dad's about to die.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that a lot of my tears is really about that craziness. So, anyway, be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be batshit crazy. And the fourth rule. Number 4. Have a lot of sex. I know that seems like a silly rule to have. One of the things I realized when I was working with couples is that people really don't enjoy sex. I'm not saying the actual act, I'm saying everything around it. Mm-hmm. What I always tell couples is, create a deeper conversation, or like a ongoing conversation about sex as a couple. Always be talking about it in one way or another. Whether you're joking with each other, whatever. And when you're having sex, laugh a lot. Laugh a lot. Have a great time. It's not just about the orgasm. It's about having fun with each other. And it just drives me nuts when people just make it all about this, getting the goal, and it's like, just enjoy each other, laugh. And it's like, if you think about, people who've been in a committed relationship for a while, think about like the best times you've ever had, and it's always involved laughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't think of the best time I've ever had sex. I can think about some of the great times we've had because they've all been fun and funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you throw the laughter in there, and if you throw this I don't know, undercurrent of joy and silliness, and you know, with all of your sex stuff, it makes it even better. It definitely relaxes it and enhances it. So that is my gift to you people.
Sex.
Lots of it.
Yes.
What? Like you're gonna get charged for it at the end of your life? You know, it's like a dime for every time you did it. No, enjoy it. Go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we lose all these opportunities for sleep and all this. No, have fun. It's not like it's gonna take you forever. Come on. I mean, what was like the joke? We were at a training and there was another couple and then you know they would Paul and the other husband dude would joke about. It's like, well, you know, we can go use your room because we weren't allowed to be together.
Right.
You know, we'll go and use the guy's room. You know, and Paul's like, don't worry about it. It's only going to take us 5 minutes. And half of that time is to clean up.
Yes, right.
You know? We know what we're doing. We don't have to get all elaborate and stuff. We know
Nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy. Straight to the point.
Yep.
And laughing. Laughing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. We always laugh. I'm not laughing at you.
No. Yeah, the pointing is a problem, but the laughing isn't bad.
I didn't. I don't point. Anyway. Oh, we got 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So, what's the name of our new show?
I've been calling things Making a Move. I don't know whether that's actually...
Is that what I called it? I don't remember now. Yeah, Making the Move
We'll
with a couple of them. It's going to start... I'm not sure yet. I got to check with our producer lady. Is she still here?
Yeah.
She is.